guys. Yeah, I was just doing some maintenance on this Cub Cadet mower that I picked up about a season and a half ago. Right now I've got 13.1 hours on the thing. So I've gone through a couple of oil changes and I've had to put a set of blades on the thing, but other than that, it's been maintenance free. Clean the air filter, it tells you to do that once in a while. There's a couple of things like that I don't really care for, but I guess if you need that, it's a little reminder that tells you to clean your air filter every so many hours. You know, it's sort of it's the oil change, I believe, does the same thing on there, but I really don't pay attention to that. I didn't buy it for those reasons. This here is XT1 by Cub Cadet. It's the LT46 model. I'll take you around here and give you a look. Some of the things I like about this is ergonomics on it are great. I have no problem with any of that. It's pretty much like most mowers you've ever used. It's got your throttle over here. Your brake is down here on the bottom, so you can push that clutch in and then push your brake down, and that will lock it into place where it won't roll away. And also it's got a safety feature on there where if you don't have that locked down, you can't get off the seat. There's your forward pedal. It's sort of like a gas pedal, but it just controls the transmission, not the of course not the RPM of the motor. You control that with your throttle. And then down on the floor, hopefully you can see that, there's the reverse is on the heel side. One of the reasons I bought this mower over some of the other ones that I looked at was some of these mowers have the safety Sally features on them where you can't back them up, or actually the previous John Deere that I had a button sort of like this, and you had to push it in and hold it while you backed up. So I didn't like that. Or maybe it was you had to do it every time, but you had to hold it for a certain amount of time to make it activate, and I didn't like that. This one, the way you make it work is you start the engine. You know, imagine it's running right now in the run position, and say you're going to be mowing and doing some needing to back up, where like most of us do. You can turn it on over here, and you see it warns you there to watch out for your kid, you know, so keep that in mind. But once you put it over into this slot, you can push this button and it lights up, or maybe this lights up here, I believe. One of these buttons lights up, indicates that you're able to move in reverse without the mower dying, so I like that feature. It's got a really nice seat on it. This thing, best seat I've ever had on a lawnmower. It's got a nice high back, just the right cushion. Even the springs on it, I don't know if they've got with their engineers on the deal and figured out that these are the best weight springs to put in here, but they're great. They're perfect. They're not too bouncy, but they're on this bumpy property that I have here. There's lots of hills and lots of mole holes and stuff, so I'm always bouncing around, and it's nice that this seat doesn't beat my back up nearly as bad as the other ones that I've had. And I've had John Deere's, Craftsman's, oh boy, just about every kind. But you can see it's got a, hopefully you can see that's pretty dark, it's got a spot for a trailer hitch back there. This one is a hydrostatic, so it's really smooth and comfortable. Some people have heard one of the complaints that is kind of common thread was that it doesn't mow very fast in reverse, and that is true. It's pretty slow in reverse, but it's good enough. I mean, you know, you don't want to go that fast in reverse. I don't want to go super fast in reverse anyway, so it suits me just fine. It's got, you know, nice wheels and tires on it, just factory Steelies. Speaking of the wheels, one of the things, the next level up, I believe it's I think it's the XT2 if I'm not mistaken. It has ball bearing front wheels on it, so that was a little bit better. I kind of wanted that, but these have grease zerks on them down here. See that kind of that blob of grease right there? You can grease that shaft, and you should probably like once a year at least. Maybe every time you do your oil change, you should go ahead and grease those front wheels and the shaft right here as it goes through this arm here. This control arm, on the back side of this I can't show you, but there's a grease zerk there too. So go around, hit all the grease zerks. This down here is your exhaust on the bottom. So if you're going to use this for pushing something, or use it more heavier than I'm using it, and I probably will eventually build a little welded bumper to go around that just to protect it, and if I want to push something around I can. But yeah, of course it's got a plastic hood on it. We live in a plastic world now, so that's how it is. Gas tanks here, I like this. Several mowers I've had, some of the John Deeres, the tank has been behind the seat back here, which in theory I don't mind that. The only problem is a lot of times when you put the tank behind the seat, then you have to add a fuel pump in to pump that fuel from there up to the carburetor. So that's a fail point. You don't want that. But yes, have no problems with the gas can or the cap. It's plastic. Pretty much what you'd expect. This thing will hang there by this little thread here, or the little piece of rope. While we're here, back to the controls for a minute. One complaint I have is the way these are kind of mounted in there. This is going to be a fail point in the future. This is all plastic. This is all plastic. Now, if you keep your machine inside, it's not going to fail nearly as soon. And if you're careful with it, it's not going to fail nearly as soon. But if you get out here, or you let your kids get out here and use it, and they're not trained up on how to operate this thing, it can cause problems. I think that's a fail point. So you can get that replacement part, but it looks like it'd be a real pain to change it because it's deep in here. It might not be that bad, but this is also kind of like that too. It's just a little plastic thing that's mounted on the outside of this, and that's kind of weak. Got an hour meter down here. I would turn it on, but you're not gonna be able to see it. But yeah, all these things are plastic. This feels pretty good. I don't know about this. This is what I think will fail first. The steering on this is very light. When you're moving, you can actually do it with just one hand. I like that. I don't know how they've done it. They put a bigger gear in there or something, but it's great, and it's got a really nice tight. For this type of tractor, it's about as tight as you're gonna get. Let's see under the hood here. This unit has the Kohler 7000 series, 22 horsepower. Haven't had any problems with it. The only little minor thing that has kind of soured me on this mower a little bit is when it's cold outside, oddly enough, and you turn the throttle all the way to choke, or to the rabbit like you're supposed to. You turn it all the way to choke and you try to start it, it'll crank and crank and crank. But then if you put it down on low, turtle, it'll start right up. So I don't know if there's an adjustment in here. It's probably the way the EPA makes them adjust these carburetors, that for whatever reason it doesn't want to start here on full choke in the wintertime. It's fine in the summer, but the few times that I tried to pull it out of the shed over there this winter, I had some problems a couple times, and I thought I was going to run the battery down. I found a automotive style replacement oil filter that was a lot cheaper than the Kohler style. The one I got says PH2835, and it's a Parts Plus brand. I'm sure maybe you could cross-reference that. The only one downside to it is right here, it rubs just a tiny bit on that. And I think what I'm going to do on my next one is I'm just going to take a hammer and I'm going to hit that a couple of times to, not real hard, because you don't want to damage, transfer that blow into the engine. But I'm going to knock that in just a tiny bit right there where clearance is right there. It shouldn't be any problem. And because the Kohler ones were ridiculous. I don't remember what, but they were like 15 bucks or something. And these were $3. So yeah, and I looked them up. They're basically the same thing. So this one's just like a tiniest bit longer, and you may be able to find an even shorter one. So I'm gonna be on the hunt for that in the future. But anyways, yeah, all in all, impressed with the engine. I had that last John Deere I had a Kohler on it. That's why I went with this one. You keep the oil changed in them, keep the air filter clean, do the maintenance on them. They'll last you a long, long time. Probably just about outlast the body of this thing. Frame. The frame is good. I don't remember the details exactly. I don't think it's I-channel or anything like that, or I-beam, but it's pretty good compared to a lot of the other thinner frame mowers you're going to get. So this thing, it's the same frame that they put on their XT2. So everything about this, rather than the wheels and what engine choices you get, is the same as the XT2 series. The wheels, front ones have bearings on the XT2. This one is just a sleeve or a bushing type bearing. But yeah, all in all, I love this thing. It's cut my mowing time down dramatically. Now before I had a John Deere 38 inch, I think it was. It might have been a 40. But it finally, the Kohler, it was a single cylinder, like 15 horse, the Kohler engine, finally gave up the ghost and threw a rod or something catastrophic. And so I had to get rid of that. But it mowed great, even better than this one, and I'll tell you why in a moment. I had a Craftsman mower that I replaced a nice high-end Craftsman mower. It was might have been a 50-inch deck. It was the biggest deck I've ever had on a mower. It was at minimum 48. This one's a 46. It was a 3-blade. That thing, in theory, would have made my lawn a lot faster to cut. But even when it was just barely damp at all, I mean any moisture in the ground, and that thing would clog up like nobody's business. And you'd spend the rest of your time out there with a hose trying to declog the thing, and I just couldn't take it. And I also had some belt problems with the thing because of the three blades. It caused me some problems. I got frustrated with it, sold the thing. Anyways, bought this to replace it, and so far it's just been fantastic. It's cut my mowing time down dramatically. It's probably cut an hour off my mowing time. I've got a big yard to mow here. It's pretty hilly. Here's the trade-off though over that John Deere that I had that cuts so well. Because this one is a 46 and the other one, that Craftsman I was talking about, was a, let's say, a 48 to 50. On these big hills it steps, so no matter how you do it, at least on this property here, we've got lots of hills here. I doubt the camera is going to show this, but this whole thing all the way down is a hill right there, all the way down to the road, and this is one of the smoother sections of it. So, and it's not too bad over here, but out in my front yard there's a steeper section. Anywhere you've got, I don't know what the degree would be, but a certain steep or a certain kind of hill, this thing will step it no matter how you cut it. And you think that the deck's unlevel, it's not. If you cut on perfectly flat level ground, it cuts fine. So it's what I'm getting at is these bigger decks, no matter what you do. To me, from my experience, a 38 inch is about, the smaller you can stand to have, the better it's going to cut, the better results you're going to have on your final product. So if you're result driven and you've got to have this thing looking great, then you better get a smaller deck and just spend more time out there on the mower. If you're looking for, get it done quickly, or you have a really nice flat level lawn. If you have a fairly nice flat level lawn, these bigger mowers, get the biggest one you can get because you'll be done in no time. But when you get into hillier lawns, that's when you can't quite get the same results you're going to get out of let's say a 38 inch or something. And really, go take a look at it. Do it with your whatever riding mower you've got, and then do it with a push mower, just a little section of it, and look how much difference it is. So what it comes down to is the bigger and the wider it is, you're trading off speed for quality. Now, I can't speak to these zero-turn mowers. I've never had one. I have ridden some and used them before, but I can't afford them. They're overpriced. They're like the Harley Davidson of the lawnmower world. So I picked this thing up a season and a half ago from Tractor Supply. It was on sale for like 16 something, just under $1,700, and it cost me a little over 17 out the door because of the taxes and all that. And so far I've been really happy with it. Haven't had any problems with the deck. One little minor complaint is that these shields that they have on the deck down here, these little shrouds that go around your pulleys, they only have little bitty slots in them right here, so it's really hard to get in there and clean those out. I found an air hose or a blower, or a blower first and then air hose, then water, and you can get it about as clean as I've got it here. But But yeah, so far I've been really impressed with this thing. I'm glad I bought it. Wish I'd have bought it sooner. Highly recommend it. Seems well built. Even going over humps and dips that on my John Deere and on that Craftsman would flex the frame. This thing, you can feel it flex, but it doesn't flex nearly as much. It's a lot more rigid than the other 2 mowers that I just mentioned. So, see anything else? Of course, this is pretty standard here. You've got your blades right here. This engages your blades. It's not electronic. It's, you know, it's a manual thing, which I like that. I bought it for that reason. I don't want electric stuff going out underneath the deck. That's a pain when that happens, by the way. And I have had it happen. Happened on that Craftsman I was just talking about. One of the reasons I got rid of her. But here's your height adjustment, you know, so. I think I've pretty much covered it all. And just to reiterate, again, guys, if you got back problems or you get off your lawnmower and you're like, man, I can't do this again. This is killing me. Knocks me out for 2 or 3 days because of my back. This seat and the way they've done it for me, for my back, is perfect. So, all right, guys. Yeah, I just wanted to show you that. It comes just as pictured right there. I got mine. I intentionally asked them to give me it. I wanted it in a crate. I didn't want the one that's been sitting out there in the rain that the help has been pulling in and out, you know, over and over and over, and pulling wheelies on and abusing. So I made them give me one brand new in the crate, and I don't regret it. So, all right, Cub Cadet, great job, and you guys have a great day.